And then there were four. Welcome to your daily recap for January 21st, 2024. The big events of the day we try to cover, give you some information, help you to be prepared for your day on Monday, the so to speak water cooler talk. The big events for today in sports were the continuation of the NFL divisional round. We had two games today. They both ended as close one score games. Well, relatively one score games, and either team could have come out on top. Let's go to the story. In the first game, the Detroit Lions hold serve at home 31-23 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Detroit holding on for dear life to end the game. Tampa Bay did have the ball late. They were driving. Unfortunately, Baker Mayfield, the quarterback for Tampa Bay, threw an interception late, and that was the ball game. Baker ended the game 26 of 41 with 349 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 147 of those yards went to receiver Mike Evans. He had 8 catches, 147. He did have a touchdown. He was targeted 12 times. Again, unfortunately, it was not enough. The Lions, Jared Goff was 30 of 43 with 287 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Jahmyr Gibbs, 9 rushes, 74 yards. You add in David Montgomery's 10 rushes for 33 yards, and they were able to pull, if you can do your math quick, 19 rushes for 107 yards and that touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 8 catches for 77 yards. Sam Laporta, 9 catches for 65 yards for the Detroit Lions. Both teams, a lot of yards. Tampa Bay, 408 yards. Detroit, 391. 319 in passing yards for Tampa Bay over Detroit's 277. Detroit did break the 100-yard mark, getting 114, while Tampa Bay only had 89. The big key, Tampa Bay did have 2 interceptions thrown. Those were the only 2 turnovers of the game. Again, Detroit wins 31-23. They will be going next week in the second game of the playoffs on Sunday evening to San Francisco to play the 1 seed 49ers. We talked about their game yesterday. They had a good game against the Green Bay Packers. This is going to be set up to be an incredible ball game. If you get the chance to watch it, I recommend it. I will talk about predictions later on in the week. In the second game, the Kansas City Chiefs went into Buffalo and held on late to hold on to a 27-24 lead. Buffalo drove down the field, got within field goal range, but in something Buffalo fans have heard before in the playoffs, the kick went wide right, and unfortunately that would have been a tie to tie the game. Kansas City got 1 first down a couple plays later and ran out the clock. As far as your statistics, Josh Allen was 26 of 39 for 186 yards and 1 touchdown. He also carried the ball 12 times for 72 yards and did score twice. James Cook, the actual running back, had 18 rushes for 61 yards. No touchdowns. No big receiving numbers. There were a lot of catches all the way around, but no high number there. And again, unfortunately, just not enough for the Buffalo Bills. For the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, was 17 of 23 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. Isaiah Pacheco, 15 rushes, 97 yards, and 1 touchdown. Travis Kelce, 5 catches, 75 yards, but he did score twice to help lead his Chiefs back to a 6th consecutive AFC title game, where they'll be going and visiting the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see what happens with that game. Just so you know, overall statistically, the teams were close in total yardage. Buffalo 368 to 361. Passing yards, Kansas City 215 to 186. Rushing yards, Buffalo 182 to 146. When you talk about turnovers, Kansas City did lose a fumble where it went out of the end zone, and it was a turnover late that allowed Buffalo to drive down and get some points. Actually, they didn't points. They punted, and then the next drive after that. But what it did do was prevent Kansas City from putting the game away. No interceptions were thrown, so that fumble did not cost the Kansas City Chiefs. So again, next week, Kansas City will be visiting Baltimore in the early game on Sunday. And unfortunately, another great run by the Buffalo Bills, spoiled by the Kansas City Chiefs, as Kansas City pulls it out 27-24. And one other bit of football news, the Philadelphia Eagles, as you know, had a great early start to the season, starting off 10-1, ended with 11-6 and losing last week. Well, they have fired their defensive coordinator, Sean Desai, according to reports. He had been hired in February to replace Jonathan Gannon, who became the coach of the Arizona Cardinals. The head coach for the Eagles demoted him and promoted former Patriots defensive man Matt Patricia, following a couple of blowout losses back-to-back to San Francisco and Dallas. Didn't really help, and again, the Eagles dropped down and then lost last week. So that'll be all for your football news. Let's now talk some, wait for it. Have you waited? We're going to actually talk a little bit of golf real quick and some hockey. In golf, we do want to let you know that amateur Nick Dunlap, only 20 years old, went on to win the PGA Tour's American Express. At only 20 and in the amateur status, he's the first amateur winner since Phil Mickelson at the Tucson Open all the way back in 1991. So this was only his fourth event, and congratulations to him. In other news, we're going to talk a little bit of hockey real quick. There weren't a lot of games, so we're just going to give you the scores since, well, again, my Bruins didn't play. The Senators went on the road in Philadelphia 5-3 against the Flyers. The Minnesota Wild win 5-2 against the Carolina Hurricanes, with Kaprizov notching a hat trick for the Minnesota Wild. The Detroit Red Wings, I knew it was going to happen. The Red Wings win 2-1 at home against the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Islanders, in overtime, defeat the Stars 3-2. You remember yesterday we discussed the Islanders getting a new coach, so a nice way to start for him. The Rangers winning at Anaheim 5-2 against the Ducks. And the Toronto Maple Leafs win on the road against the Seattle Kraken 3-1. In men's college basketball, there were only 3 ranked basketball games, and one of them was an upset as number 10 Memphis loses at Tulane 81-79. Now, that's Memphis's 4th loss of the season. The only thing I make mention about this game is there was the fans that stormed the court. Now, we're going to hear one here in a bit where there was a little more egregiousness. But even here, there were stories about players getting run into by these fans. So if you're a fan of basketball and your team gets an upset win, just be careful going out there. Number 14, Illinois, wins at home against Rutgers 86-63. And Florida Atlantic, ranked 23rd, were able to win on the road at University of Texas San Antonio 112-103 in overtime. Now, what I was going to talk about in women's college basketball, kind of big, the major upset for the day, number 2 Iowa losing in overtime at number 18 Ohio State 100-92. In this game, you actually saw that as they were celebrating, Caitlin Clark, the reigning National Player of the Year and star of the Iowa team, was actually run into by a fan on the court. She said the wind was knocked out of her, but she was doing okay afterwards, so definitely glad for that. But again, another time where people just need to be careful. Number 4 NC State wins at home against Duke 72-57. Number 14 Virginia Tech wins at home against Clemson 74-62. Number 21 Creighton wins 63-49 at Villanova. Number 23, North Carolina at home upsets number 13, Louisville, 79-68 for the 2 ACC rivals. Speaking of the ACC, Virginia, 9-9 and unranked, win at Florida State, who's ranked 15th, 91-87. Number 16, Indiana wins 74-68 at Purdue. Number 19, Notre Dame wins 75-56 at Wake Forest. Number 3, Colorado 63. Number 6, USC 59. So it was an upset, but it was an upset that a 3 beat a 6 and a 3 won at home. So that'll probably be taken into consideration. Number 1, South Carolina winners at Texas A&M 99-64 to remain undefeated at 17-0. LSU number 10 defeats Arkansas 99-68. And in probably the bigger news for the women's college basketball, number 8 Stanford wins at home against Oregon State 65-56. The reason that this is important, we mentioned it a couple days ago, but Tara VanDerveer sets the record for the most wins in coaching, college coaching history. She just went 1 win ahead of Coach Mike Krzyzewski, the former coach of the Duke Blue Devils. He coached a couple other teams, but he's known most for his work with the Blue Devils, also with USA Basketball. But her win on Sunday gave her 1,203rd victory, which passed Coach Mike Krzyzewski. So congratulations to the Stanford Cardinal and to Coach Tara VanDerveer with such a great accomplishment. To end our sports coverage for the day, we're going to do a quick hitter around the NBA, the National Basketball Association. We had a few games going on, so we definitely want to cover them, especially with some of the stars out and about, so we want to definitely give them credit. So first, the Los Angeles Clippers come from behind, get a big fourth quarter rally, and win at home against the Brooklyn Nets 125-114. Excuse me. For the Clippers, they were led in scoring by James Harden, scoring 24 points with 10 assists. Russell Westbrook scored 23 points, had 9 rebounds, 6 assists. Kawhi Leonard, 21 points on the game, including some quick scoring, scoring 14 points in 5 minutes to kind of help end the game there. Again, Clippers 125-114. Just so you know, for the Brooklyn Nets, that top scorer for the game was Mikal Bridges with 26 points. Also, Cam Thomas provided 20, but it wasn't enough as the Clippers pulled it out. The Denver Nuggets, coming off of the fresh upset of the Boston Celtics and ending their home winning streak, get another win on the road against the Washington Wizards, 113-104. Nikola Jokic, showing his old MVP skills, had 42 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists in the game. Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. both chipped in 19. For Brooklyn, 17 points for Washington, they got 17 points from Kyle Kuzma. Daniel Gafford had 15, and Marvin Bagley III and Landry Shamet both added in 14. Again, not enough, as Jokic leads his team to a victory. The Orlando Magic win at home against the Miami Heat, 105-87. So a nice big win for Orlando there. They were led in scoring with a nice balance effort for Paolo Banchero with 20 points and 10 rebounds. Franz Wagner scored 19 points, and they got 17 from Wendell Carter Jr., who also provided 9 rebounds. So a nice balanced game for them. For Miami, they were led in scoring by Bam Adebayo's 22 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. They got 15 from Jimmy Butler, which wasn't enough, as again, Orlando winning at home 105-87. The Indiana Pacers lose on the road against the Phoenix Suns 117-110. KD, Mr. Kevin Durant, is showing his prowess, dropped 40 points, also had 9 rebounds in 40 minutes worth of time. Devin Booker added in 26, Bradley Beal providing 25. So they're starting to get to see what their trio looks like, their all-star trio group there. For the Pacers, they were led in scoring by 18 points from Buddy Hield, They got 15 from their new man, Pascal Siakam, who also had 7 assists. They also had 15 points from Jalen Smith. Tyrese Halliburton, again, did not play this game, so they kept it close, but unfortunately it was not enough as the Suns pull it out. Portland Trailblazers went and visited the Lakers, and they didn't do so well. As the final score was 134 to 110, the Lakers pull out the big win for them. For the Lakers, 34 points from D'Angelo Russell. Big game for him today. 28 points from LeBron James. 5 rebounds and 5 assists. Anthony Davis chipped in 14 points, 14 rebounds, and Austin Reeves added 15. For the Portland Trailblazers, they were led in scoring by Malcolm Brogdon's 23 points, 9 assists, 19 points from Anthony Simons, 17 from Jeremy Grant. Again, not enough. Lakers pull off the victory. And of course, you know my team, the Boston Celtics, win on the road in Houston, 116 to 107. For the Boston Celtics, they were led in scoring by Kristaps Porzingis. His KP scores 32 points. Jason Tatum added 18, 21 from Derek White. And Jaylen Brown with the triple-double, scored 13 points, had 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. For the Rockets, Dylan Brooks chipped in 25. AS, or the librarian as I've heard him called, Alperen Sengun, scored 24 points, had 12 rebounds and 10 assists to have another triple-double of himself. And Amen Thompson had 15 points and 14 rebounds. Again, not enough. Boston Celtics get off of that losing streak they had going after losing at home with a big 116-107 win. Okay, that is it for your sports. Tomorrow or the next day, we will discuss how my predictions went. Since it's early on, we want to start keeping track to see how I did with my predictions. Otherwise, I thank you for taking the time to join us. Looking forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Have yourselves a great day.